Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to episode number 8. Oh man, episode number 8 of the series COVID-19 and the impacts that it has on the body, specifically body systems. Today we are doing the nervous system. I'm not gonna lie to you, the nervous system is my favorite system in the body. I don't know why it is, but it was just when I learned about it, it was just the most fun. I don't know, it's just my favorite system. So, excuse me, we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Let's get started. So, the nervous system is made up of two parts. There is the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Now, the central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord, and then the peripheral nervous system contains all nerve cells outside of these things. The actual function of this itself is to, I want to make sure I said this right, send signals throughout the entire body. I don't know why I got really excited to make this episode. I don't know why, but that's just me being my nerdy self. I can't help it. But it sends signals throughout the body. For an example, if you place your hand on the stove, your hand begins to burn. That signal gets sent up to your brain. Your brain tells your hand, hey, take it off the stove. That gets sent back down. That's what causes your hand to get up like this, to move. Yes, it all happens really fast, but that is exactly what the nervous system does. So, all that to say, what does COVID-19 do to these nervous systems? Now, I'm not going to lie. COVID attacks the nervous system pretty hard. It's very difficult. It actually attacks the brain a lot, to be honest with you. There's a lot of dysfunction in the brain. It causes a lot of people to actually lose two of their senses, which is the sense of taste and smell. And people cannot taste or smell anything. It's all gone. It's not really much you can do. It can also cause numbness in the hands and feet, as well as dizziness, confusion, and actually in some extreme cases, seizures or strokes. Now this depends on the person themselves, what underlying conditions they have, how strong their immune systems are, how much of their brain is actually being affected by the virus, and what it means it goes to. Now, based on what I've heard with different people that I've known that I had the virus, is mostly just loss of the taste and smell, maybe a little bit of dizziness, confusion. But knock on wood, I don't know anyone who have had seizures or strokes, and I really don't want to know anybody who has that. I don't want anybody to have it for that matter. Now, for those of you who do not know, the brain is actually the control center of our entire body. It controls everything. It's top dog. It has the say so for everything. Like if I'm gonna take my hand out this way, the brain sends the signal, hey, take it. It's something I process. So, when the brain is affected, the entire body is pretty much under chaos because that's the control center. So when the control center is messed up, everything else is. You know what I mean? Everything else is. There's not much you can do about it. So this includes really high fevers, decreased levels of oxygen, organ failures, and overall possible brain dysfunction. Now, the reason why the organs fail is because the brain is not being able to tell the organs to continue to function. The brain does that for us without us physically thinking. Am I supposed to? No. But if there's nothing to tell those organs to function, organ failure will begin to happen, as well as really high fevers. Everything, think of it as a door being taken off the hinges. Like everything that was in that room is now open, seeable. Like the whole purpose of that door being there is pretty much gone. It's not good at all. It really isn't. Of course, I actually have an example here. In my paper, I say, for example, when the brain is no longer functioning correctly, it cannot control how the blood flows through our body. This is where blood clots come into play. And the cardiovascular system, which was episode number 2, I explained the blood flow. The blood clots happen when COVID also hits the brain as well, because there's nothing to tell that blood to keep pumping. So it'll stop at a certain point. That's when the blood clots begin to happen, and everything really goes downhill even more than it already was. So, of course, the blood clots form in deeper parts of the body or the lungs. It just kind of depends. It's different for everyone, just like all the other symptoms are. And then there's also the blood flow in the main arteries leading to the brain to keep the brain functioning are now shut off. And that's something that you do not want to happen at all. Of course, now, one of the more simpler yet kind of crazy things people don't think about is trouble focusing. When your brain is under a lot of stuff like that, you can't focus on anything. It's very hard to get stuff done. Now, many patients, it says here, have actually had a lot of trouble with concentration, causing them either to drift off of something or constantly changing the subject, never being able to truly focus on one topic. Now, with all this to say, of course, is there any way to be treated? Any way for this to be treated? And it says, I wrote in my paper here, to be honest, there's only one thing you can do. There are medications to help with headaches and confusion, but there's not much one can do. You have to be really careful as a doctor. You have to be really careful when prescribing something for somebody and actually trying to figure out what treatment the patient needs, because there's only certain things that you can do, because the brain is such a sensitive thing with all the nerves and just it with the control that it has and the responsibilities that come with it. It's a lot of things to do. So really, if the brain gets infected or gets I don't want to say it like that, but that's really technically the correct term. If that happens, the only thing you can do is take medication for headaches and everything and things of that nature. Try to get it out of the system, of course. Relax. Try to relax your head. Lay down, of course. Try to reduce everything. No stress, no anxiety. Try to keep yourself under control and just maybe be deep in your thoughts. Try to think about some things. Think about some uplifting moments. Try to help yourself not just physically and mentally, but emotionally. And kind of let that all tie in together. So those are just some of the things that you can do, as well as talking to your doctors, as I said before, just to see what direction you personally need to go than everybody else would, of course. And the other thing you could do is, of course, stay safe, stay clean, healthy diets, of course, just like you've heard multiple times. That is actually going to conclude this episode, number 8. Thank you for listening. I enjoy making these. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next, what system you want to hear. But yeah, without further ado, going to cut it off here. We're going to go on to the next episode. Stay tuned.